Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Ukraine latest, Volodymyr Zelenskyy denounces Russian missile strike as a war crime. Bodies recovered from mass graves in Bucha. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has denounced the missile strike on an eastern train station as another Russian war crime and says Ukraine expects a tough global response. Like the massacres in Bucha, like many other Russian war crimes, the missile attack on Kramatorsk should be one of the charges at the tribunal that must be held, he said during his nightly video address to the nation on Friday. Warning: this story contains graphic images and details that may disturb some readers. Mr. Zelenskyy told Ukrainians that great efforts would be taken to establish every minute of who did what, who gave what orders, where the missile came from, who transported it, who gave the command and how this strike was agreed, so that those behind the attack would be held responsible. Here is the latest on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Death toll from train station missile strike rises. Ukrainian officials say at least 52 people have been killed, including 5 children, and over 100 wounded by a Russian rocket strike on a railway station in East Ukraine where civilians were trying to evacuate to safer parts of the country. The state rail company said 2 Russian rockets struck a station in the city of Kramatorsk, which was being used to evacuate civilians from areas being bombarded by Russian forces. About 4,000 people, most of them elderly, women and children, were at the station when it was struck, Kramatorsk Mayor Alexander Honkarenko said. There are many people in a serious condition, without arms or legs, Mayor Honkarenko said. Even with 30 to 40 surgeons working, the local hospital was struggling, he said. Russia's defense ministry denied launching a missile strike on the station, saying its army had no targets assigned in Kramatorsk on Friday. It accused Ukraine of carrying out the attack, in a statement carried by state news agency RIA Novosti. So did the region's Moscow-backed separatists, who work closely with Russian regular troops. Experts refuted Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov's assertion that Russian forces do not use that type of missile, saying Russia has used it during the war. One analyst added that only Russia would have reason to target railway infrastructure in the Donbas. Britain's Defence Minister, Ben Wallace, denounced the attack as a war crime and UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called it completely unacceptable. Bodies recovered from mass graves in Bucha. Mayor Anatoly Fedoruk has said investigators found at least 3 sites of mass shootings of civilians and were still finding bodies in yards, parks and city squares, 90% of whom were shot. Russia has falsely claimed that the scenes in Bucha were staged. On Friday, workers pulled corpses from a mass grave near a town church under spitting rain, lining up black body bags in rows in the mud. About 67 people were buried in the grave, according to a statement from Prosecutor General Irina Venediktova's office, which is investigating those deaths and other mass casualties involving civilians as possible war crimes. The killings around Kyiv were revealed when Russian forces pulled back after failing to take the capital in the face of stiff resistance. Russian troops have now set their sights on the Donbas, the mostly Russian-speaking, industrial region where Moscow-backed rebels have been fighting Ukrainian forces for 8 years and control some areas. EU condemns Bucha cruelty, offers speedy start for Ukraine membership. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said the civilian deaths in the Ukrainian town of Bucha showed the cruel face of Russia's army and pledged to try to speed Ukraine's bid to become a member of the European Union. During a visit to Bucha, where forensic investigators have started to exhume bodies from a mass grave, Ms. von der Leyen looked visibly moved by what she saw in the town northwest of Kyiv where Ukrainian officials say hundreds of civilians were killed by Russian forces. Read more. There are almost no words for it, Ms. von der Leyen told reporters in Ukraine. The cynical behavior by Russia has almost no benchmark anymore. Saying the EU could never match the sacrifice of Ukraine, Ms. von der Leyen offered it a speedier start to its bid for bloc membership. Handing President Volodymyr Zelenskyy a questionnaire that will form a starting point for a decision on membership, she said, "It will not, as usual, be a matter of years to form this opinion, but I think a matter of weeks. Russia will descend into economic, financial and technological decay, while Ukraine is marching towards the European future. This is what I see, Ms. von der Leyen said. Ukrainian officials have almost daily pleaded with Western powers to send more arms and to further punish Russia with sanctions and exclusion of Russian banks from the global financial system.